safety asset. Don't come
No,
off
I'm
mine.
good. I'm good. I've got one
Oh,
ready to
it
go.
is this monster, yeah.
So let's go here.
Jesus Christ, they're lousy.
Waiting for it. We're not cursing. We're not cursing. We're saying hello. We're waiting for video of stuff to be released today. Of course, I don't want to say things that might get me algorithmed right off the bat. We're waiting for the release of a video today. You guys all know what that is. And we talked about it on the earlier show. And there go the notifications. Moo.
Let's pita guitar jam.
No.
Yes.
Moo.
Moo, 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 moo.
No.
Moo, moo, moo. Oops, oops. Okay, I don't know what I just did. The streamer mode's enabled. We got Cyber going here in the Cyber's Grow tent. Cyber's playing a neat game that is called
Dead Space.
Dead
Like,
Space, and I've been enjoying it so
Dog
far.
calling Daisy.
I was creeping on him watching it earlier,
Hey,
but I can't
Got
creep
my
on
beans.
Cyber. He knows when I'm creeping. He's
Patrick
like,
John
"Yo,
Doe.
Nay, why you creeping? Yo, Nay, why you creeping?"
Man,
Why you
the
creeping,
way the
man?
chief of police described the video is horrifying.
Yes,
I can't believe we
horrifying.
are
Patrick.
still going through this with these pigs.
Oh, come on. Of course. Pfft.
Tula Rose.
Why, man? Hey,
Hi,
Tula. Patrick. Of course, you're surprised. Why? Have we done anything to change it? Have we done a single thing to change what's going on with the policing? No. I'm not surprised at all that this happened. I'm angry. And I hope the rest of the world is angry enough to go out and protest tonight when they release that video. And I hope the protest never ends. And I hope it exhausts the police and exhausts the governments, local and federal. And I hope it brings them all down eventually. I hope this is it. I really do. Because I'm sick and tired of people like George Santos and Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump and Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi and name any other politician being our leaders. All of them are bad. George Santos? Wow. Check that guy out. And listen to Ann Coulter. Listen to Ann Coulter defend him. I mean, it's I don't know. Cyber, I need to smoke.
I am packed.
No law regarding cannabis. I've got the oldest bong that I own here in my hands, I believe. Cheers, Cyber. Cheers, Jiminy. Cheers, Tula. Patrick, Duck. And everybody in the chat and Cyber Reload, we have to come up with a tougher name for Jiminy. Now, I know he's Casper Schizo. I don't think that rolls off the tongue so much, so we might have to come up with something tougher for
Dog
him.
calling Daisy.
He says he likes Iceman and Cyber Reload.
Cheers.
He wants to have a tough name like you guys.
Emma Kinross.
Cheers, Emma. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, bro. Cheers, everybody.
Josh G. It's trendy time with Nay.
You guys might want to notice this says 2043, and look where we are here, $12,990.
Oka swims into Nay's garden shash.
Overall, we've made over $9,000 in profits off of that initial investment. The initial investment was expensive, but I was going high because I had a feeling it was going to be a good return, so I just kept dumping as much money into it as I could. I put $34,500 in. And so far, it's worth $43,776. It's worth more. Watch, this is going to hit 13. Look, that's going to hit 13. 12,998.
That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah, $9,000 profit for just doing the right thing. That's the biggest trade I've ever made. I made $9,000 off a trade. I think that's huge. I'd call it a single trade, but it was 4 trades done within a week of each other. Why did our 998.38 freeze up? Let's refresh that page. There we go. Start that clock again.
Patrick John Welder. I'm not surprised, my apologies. I'm just sick of hearing about people being killed by the ones who were sworn to protect us. They should get the death penalty for killing civilians wrongfully.
You know, my mom would come over here and argue that, well, they're police and most of them are good. And, oh boy, you're going to need one day, so you better remember that when you need one. You know, this is just going to cause more murders. Less people will call the police now, and they will just grab a gun and take justice into their own hands. You know, that causes more. Cops not doing their jobs correctly causes more crime. And I don't want to call the police. 5 of them will come over here and beat me to death. No, thank you. You know? So we're going to maybe see the release of this video. I've got all kinds of news up waiting for this thing to go. And I don't know if they say what time they said that they're going to release this video. So bro, I've had the same commercial going over and over on this CNN Go bullshit. I don't know what the fuck happened here. Oh, there it is. Rona McDaniel. How close to Ronald McDonald does Rona McDaniel sound? Re-elected as RNC chair despite mounting opposition.
Sup, there's no good cop because you don't become a cop without wanting to control the public.
Right?
It's the entire job description.
Bro, Rona McDaniel is a truther for Donald Trump. She thinks that he won that thing that we can't talk about, which of course he did not. And she's now re-elected as the chair of the DNC, of the RNC, because they don't mind a liar representing them. It's psychotic. That amount of lying. Now, we understand all the politicians are lying, but that level of lying is just, it's embarrassing for all Republicans. And let me just say this to all Republicans out there. Your party is a joke. You guys have become a caricature of yourselves. And, you know, the Democratic Party really does have something to hold over your heads and look at you and laugh at. And it's too bad. Because, you know, you having opposition to them is a fantastic. Wow, 13,000, guys. That was $8,000. That should make it easy, right? That's $5,000 profit on a single trade. 8, 12, 13. $5,000, boom, on an $8,000 trade. On a single trade. So if you had $800, you'd have $1,300 now. Imagine if you had $800 and you trusted me enough that you were going to do this too. I'm like, I'm going to put in $800. You'd have $1,300 now. Hey, Patrick John Welder, what you got? Hey, Patrick John Welder, what you got, son? I can't remember where you said you got in at. They get you hard, bro. Where'd you get in at? 21? They get you hard, bro. I know. You're going to have to wait like I did. I had to wait days, bro. And then I was partying on the dance floor. I'm partying now. Body. Body on the dance floor. Hey, we're bodying on the dance floor. Look at us. We're parking the cars in the garage. We're bodying on the dance floor. What are you doing? I'm going to go tell my mom. I'll be right back. I'm going to go tell her that trade's at $5,000. to tell my look at what I did. I made a trade. I wish I knew when the market was going to crash. You know, I wish I was a psychic because I can't pull my money out. I don't know how to pull my money out. I leave my money in. I don't know how to take it out. Hodl. That's all I can do. That's all I know how to do is hodl. I don't know what to do, man. Look, 2057. How are you going to pull your money out? What are you going to do when it goes to 3 cents? What are you going to do when it goes to 2100? Dude, imagine where this is going to be. So where does this have to be for it to be at 16,000? It has to be exactly double where I bought it at, right? And I bought it at 10. We'll just scroll down here. I wrote it down. 10. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry. Wait, I'm confused. No, that's the right one. 0. Oh, my bad. 01258. My bad, man. I was way off. 01258. 01258. 001 8, right? Times 2. 02516. Okay, it's got to go all the way up to 02516. It's at 053. When it gets to 516, that will say $16,000, and we will be at what I believe they call 2x. We'll be at freaking 2x, I believe.
Isaac, we can't stay here much longer. Hearing a lot of movement. I'm halfway done.
So,
Just gotta move the tram. Okay, Daniel, watch that door.
it's McDaniels, not McDonald's. These rhymes are Daryl's. These burgers are Ronald's. What? Nay! Nay! Damn, son. Ripping out the Run DMC. What? I almost said DNC. The Democratic National. Oh, don't say that word. Do not say that word on the live cast, mister. You've stopped cursing on the show. You guys notice I've done a good job lately without cursing on the show. I'm doing good, huh?
Yeah.
And I figured out this other way that I can get my feelings and emotions across without actually saying the words. And that's just by mouthing the words. And if you're watching the screen when I do it, it works really well. So I'll just say I'd like to share some choice words. Make sure you pay attention to the screen. I'll tell people that. And then I'll do it without making any vocalization. And problem solved. And I still feel like I'm getting the rage out of me when I do it. It's funny. It's a funny little thing.
Enoch, why you beasling?
Enoch, why you beasling?
You need what up, son?
Yo, what's up, son? Why you beasling?
Oh, I need to pack. I hear someone is packing.
I am just knocking the bowl out. Knocking the bowl out. Why you knocking the bowl out? This is gonna be a tasty bowl because I'm getting all this ash out of here. Prior to the bowl, it's going to be awesome. Awesome. It's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna put some orange bud in, and then on top of the orange bud, I'm gonna put some Gorilla Glue.
Enoch, why you
No,
busy
I'm gonna
in
put some cherry
420?
pie. Shake
Smoking
if I
a
have
bowl,
any.
son, cheers, hashtag NLRC.
Smoking what? What? A bowl, son, cheers. It sounded like you said Sanchez. Like George Sanchez. Okay, so we want the cherry pie. Yes, there is some cherry pie there. We are going to go like this. cherry pie. We call that twinkle dust. We're gonna put some fairy dust. Fairy dust.
On that you show the video game I play, it's not filling out the whole screen. There's a black bar on the left, and then you don't show the whole right end of the screen. That's saying.
Really? What? I see that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Hold on.
Enoch Y. Ubislin 420. Your cyber.
I don't know how to make it full screen.
Hey Enoch, how are you doing?
I don't know how to do that. So stupid. While I'm sitting here holding this bong. Cyber, you're making me work, son.
I'm sorry.
That's
bro.
okay.
I thought it was a quick fix. I thought it was just a window.
It is a quick fix. I'm just being a big bitch about it. Because I'm a bitch. Yeah, I'm a bitch. Mother effer. I'm a bitch. Get all up in my space because I'm a bitch. Oh, yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. I have to get the
And
entire...
then it don't need to be that big. But
No, I like it. All right, I'm making up for lost visual. All right, no law regarding cannabis. Cheers, cyber. Cheers, everybody. Ooh, 2064. Will we see a 2100 Harmony? Holy moly! This market is going crazy, and every time we go up a few points, you guys can see how much money is added. And everybody's wondering why I don't take profit. Now you're going to understand why I'm not pulling profit off of this. You probably understand it. All right. Hopefully, if you don't, I can explain it to you. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Enoch.
Cheers, bro.
Cheers
Cheers,
everybody
everybody.
else in the live streams. I got an idea. Look at that.
Cyber, I can see your camera. The camera's still on.
it's my. Oh, hold on. Let me.
Spykesta.
Let me.
About to do some Skywalker OG with ya.
Skywalker OG, heck yes, by Kesta. Yes, heck yes. Did you hear my enthusiasm? Heck yes. Do you guys hear that? I'm getting so good at this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be ready to teach high school pretty soon. I could do it, man. I could do it. I'm ready to go on somebody else's podcast as a guest and not get 193 Bitcoin. Shut my mouth. 256. What was our we put a thing up there. Oh no, 256. Yeah, that's what we got to get to. That's the daily high, 256. Have we beat that? Yes. Oh my goodness, we've gone all the way up to 23,511 today, guys. And it just happened while we were live just now. Wait, we've been live for 18 minutes? No. It happened in the last 2 hours though, for sure. But I didn't realize this. Oh my goodness gracious, man. Harmony 1 is exploding. Oh my goodness gracious. 23,200, 23,200, 1605, 1606 Ethereum. 23,200 Bitcoin, and it's trying to bust through. Bro,
Nice,
we are making gains. We are back, baby. It's too bad Celsius didn't just freeze their assets and wait instead of claiming bankruptcy. They should have just froze their assets and waited and explained to their customers what was going on. This is what they should have said. Look, instead of claiming bankruptcy, we're just going to shut our app down until the market improves and you're all going to get your crypto back. You know, but no, they had to get greedy and claim bankruptcy and try to take all of our money away from us. And that's what they try to do in a bankruptcy. They take your money away from you, which the people who they were borrowing money from, which is psychotic. But you never feel sympathy for the other side of a bankruptcy when it's like someone claims bankruptcy. Oh, I claim bankruptcy. You know, you hear Donald Trump say that. oh, he claimed bankruptcy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's what I do. You never say, yeah, well, on the other end of that, there's a whole bunch of people suddenly not getting paid, not getting their money. And people are like saying, Donald Trump didn't like to pay his contractors. Donald Trump claimed bankruptcy in his companies 7 times or whatever it was. You know, that's not paying your contractors. Think about that. That's what that is, because that's me. I'm like a contractor of Celsius. And guess what? They claim bankruptcy, and boom, I'm not getting paid anymore. You know, nothing. I haven't seen a goddamn thing. Not a penny, man. If you guys are wondering, they've had my $100,000 locked up for, I don't know, you know, since July of last year. We're going on a year here pretty soon. And not giving us a penny back. Just saying. You know, it was supposed to last, 90 days or whatever their initial bankruptcy. We're just temporarily, Stero, whatever they're called, Stretto. Oh, Stretto has a video for you.
Who has it, Nay?
Celsius. Oh, Stretto has a video for you. Oh, yes. Oh, Stretto says that you'll get your funds back, and what we'll do is we're reorganizing, and we just need time, and blah, 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 blah. And the judge is like, for frickin' Celsius for some reason, while we're bent over. Am I doing this good with the language? The algorithm hates me. That algorithm hates me right now. There is nothing they can do to me when I talk like this. Just a big, with muscle behind it. Yeah, man, muscle behind it. Yeah, what do you say to that, algorithm? Look at that. I'm just giving it to you. I'm giving it to you, algorithm. I'm giving it to you, algorithm. That means nothing to you because you are a computer and I'm a human being and I'm smarter than you.
Spikesta. Someone get in swole.
I get really swole when I do my exercises, and I've kind of been neglecting them lately. You know? I need to just straighten my
Enoch,
legs
why
out
you Bislin 420.
and do my exercises.
Don't forget to hit that like button it on YouTube, folks.
Oh, thank you, Enoch. Yeah, hit the like button for me. You guys want to see a flex? Algorithm hates me. I know, it's not that impressive. But hey, look, I got a dimple. I got a dimple. Look at that. Hey, we're working on that. I'm going to lose some weight. I'm working on it right now. It's taking me a little time. I had to make some lifestyle changes in my bagel count. I make some lifestyle changes in my bagel count. Hey, Algo, what do you think of the pec flex, Algo? Huh? Huh? You like that?
Enoch, why
You want some more of that, huh? You want some of that? You want some more of that? What about both at the same time, huh? You want that, huh? You want some of that? Someone needs to make a clip of that and put that on the internet for me. Someone should do that for me. People will be like, bro, Nay's like getting a little muscular there, isn't he? He's getting a little. He's dropping some weight. Israel, 7 dead, 3 injured after shooting in Jerusalem. You heard it first here, folks.
Which is Israeli military says was to target Islamic Jihad militants who they say were about to carry out an attack. A few hours after that, at nightfall, rockets
Synagogue shooting in Jerusalem comes a day after at least 9 Palestinians were killed by Israeli forces in the West Bank. Oh, now it makes more sense. Wow, you mean there was a reaction to what you did? I wonder how that's going to translate to the United States tonight when they release that video of that man being beaten to death by 5 police officers. I just wonder. I'm really like.
Up next, what CNN found when we followed the money behind the He Gets Us campaign.
Up next. with Jake Tapper. Look who's talking, not me, because I'm like, I like to talk like this. He's got a damaged tampon? What is he gonna do? He's got a damaged tampon. The dude in Cyber's Games got its damaged tampon, everybody. Must be really bitchy. I bet he's really bitchy. Oh, I think the computer's the one with the damaged tampon. Listen to her. Did you hear that? She says angry. Look who's talking. Oh, what? Guess what? Me and you've got two things in common. Yeah, I couldn't give a shit about either of them. Thanks for coming on my show. Whoa, that was quite phallic and sexual. Well, now that thing's trying to kill you.
At Spikesta, yes, it's so delicious. I don't blame you.
Shoot it in the head.
To smoke it, LOL.
No, you need to. It's faster to kill it if you shoot the legs and the arms off first.
Okay.
Because it just keep crawling after you.
Okay. I just like to shoot things in their head. I'm trained. It's like a Pavlov's. Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot. Boom, headshot.
Great. But hurry. Okay? Sound Karen's down here.
You guys want to see that bigger and scarier? That's what she said. Yeah, I want to see it, but I want to see it bigger and scarier.
Spikesta. That trade has made $24 in the 20 minutes Eve been on your channel.
$24. Well, yeah, at one point it was at 13.1, I believe. But that went down because Harmony went back down. But it's in a good spot. Everything's in a really good spot. The market's doing really well. It's very healthy. We'll just see what happens in 2 days or 3 days. It's the 27th. In 4 days.
Enoch, why you Bislin 420? In playing the Callisto Protocol. Reminds me of Dead Space, bro.
Yeah, that's because the guy who made the original Dead Space is the same guy who made the Callisto Protocol. So that's why they have all those similarities.
Spykester. So I came in late nay what is new in general. Enoch why you Bislin 420. I knew it cyber. I was telling my buddy the other day I bet you the creator of Dead Space made this game.
Yeah. And to be honest,
It's funny. We were just talking
I
about
think,
that.
yeah. But I personally think the Callisto Protocol was released too early. I think they released it in panic over Dead Space remake was going to be released, and they thought that the Callisto Protocol would be disappear in the fucking sales of and the hype of the remake of Dead Space. In my opinion, the Callisto Protocol is a really good game, but it still contains a lot of bugs. I replayed it again a few days ago, and I crashed fucking two
Hey,
times the
whoa,
same
cursey,
place. I had
curse,
to
curse.
reset the yeah, and I had to restart the game. But it is a good game. But in my opinion, they should have waited 6 months and had it longer in the oven, so to speak, before they released it. But it's still a good game. It is a good game. Really good game.
The chompers.
Enoch why you Bislin 420. Yeah, when I get tired of COD, I pop that game on Sun. Or God of War, I've basically passed everything else.
Oh, God of War is a good game. I cannot wait till Ragnarok comes to PC. I'm really looking forward to that.
survivor. Dana's just trying to get into the command computer.
They're talking about it. Let's see if they've got a time expected for that video release. That's what the police did to him. That's what the police did to that guy.
For life. Duty of care that we're all sworn to. And a level of physical interaction.
This is the hero woman right here who fired those 5 bastards. She's a hero. She's finally a police officer with the balls to fire some pigs who murdered somebody. It's not often, but it took a woman to do it. And I applaud all women tonight. You know, thank you, women. Go hug a woman tonight. Everyone should go hug a woman.
Because I'm his mother.
You know?
The 5 officers involved in the beating charged with second-degree
I got 2 women right here. I'm about to go hug them both right now.
Showed 2 incidents after police stopped Nichols on January 7th on the claim he was driving recklessly. She says her department has
There she is. She's a hero.
Any evidence the stop was warranted, and warned the officers showed aggressive behavior
Billy
from their
Ballantyne.
first moments with Nichols.
I won't
Nichols
have
ran
an
from the
opinion
cops
till
after
the
being
video
pepper
is
sprayed.
released.
It's not clear why the
Of
spray was
course.
used. Then the aggression from the officers escalated.
Where was the humanity?
You don't trust these people, bro?
Pinata. They had beat
You don't trust that?
He had bruises all over him.
I don't need a video, bro.
His head was swollen like
That's
a
his mom and dad right there, bro.
His neck was busting because of the swelling.
Listen to her. You need a video, really?
Enoch, why you bizzling
Come on, bro.
My
420?
son's nose looked like an S.
First time I'm hearing about this.
They actually just
Billy
beat the crap
Ballantyne.
out of him.
The officers who
wasn't
beat
there,
Nichols
so-
were part of an anti-crime
Okay.
unit called the Scorpion
Fine.
Unit. Lawyers for the family are now calling for
It's
the
pretty
unit
crazy
to be
you say that.
disbanded immediately.
It's like you side with the pigs until you need to see a video about it. It's weird. You're acting
He
weird.
did nothing wrong. He was caught up in a sting.
The family also notes the lack of empathy and care from the paramedics, who waited several minutes to treat Nichols after the severe beating, according to police.
Nobody tried to stop it, or even after they beat him and they propped him up against a car, no one rendered aid to him whatsoever. They walked around smoking cigarettes like it was all calm.
That's what's so
They should
painful,
fucking be
because
charged
you
also.
wanted some ounce of humanity,
They are.
Somebody to say, hey,
Oh,
we gotta
okay,
try to
good.
help him.
Family attorney Ben Crump saying the real issue in the case is the police culture, since all 5 of the officers involved in the beating are black.
It doesn't matter if the officer is a black officer, a Hispanic officer, or a white officer. It is the culture that allows them to think they can do this.
As this video will show you, it doesn't matter who's wearing the uniform.
Nichols' mother says the violence against her son is so horrific, she worries about the reaction the public may have when it's released.
And any of you who have children, please don't let them see it.
And Wolf, this afternoon, the President Joe Biden, calling the family, both the mother and the stepfather, to offer his condolences and support. And as you say, as this community now awaits the release of this video. Wolf?
All right, Shimon, thank you very, very much. Shimon will be back with us in just a few moments. I also want to bring in CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller, Civil Rights Attorney Ariva Martin, and the former president of the NAACP, Cornell William Brooks. Cornell, let me start with you. We keep hearing that this video that's about to be released shows a beating that defies humanity. As you reflect on the killing of Tyre Nichols and other acts of police brutality before this, I wonder what's going through your mind right now.
Well, I'm really taken back to the video of Rodney King more than a generation ago, where the nation witnessed essentially the first viralized video of police brutality. And here we are this many years later, this many decades later, where we are sitting in a kind of American theater on the edge of our seats waiting for the movie of man's inhumanity to man, police brutality being revealed yet again.
I don't need a video.
So what I think about is how long, how many hashtags, how many human beings killed, how many lives decimated and desecrated does it take?
No, Enoch, they did beat him to death. What do you mean almost? They beat him to death. The cause of his death, you look at the coroner's report, bro, internal bleeding. That's what caused his death. Okay? You can't tell me that a guy who is perfectly healthy running away from the police in perfectly good condition sustained those kinds of injuries and that wasn't the cause of his death. Come on, Enoch. Come on, buddy.
Or America.
You guys need to be better. Both of you. You and Billy. Later, Billy.
As an industry to come to grips with the fact that the culture is sick. We need.
I mean, how are you going to disagree? Did you not see? Did you not see the photograph of him laying in the hospital bed?
It doesn't matter if the officers are black.
Did you not see his face?
Because black wrapped in a criminal shade of blue.
I can't believe you need to see a video before you'll, you'll come to judgment on something like this.
It is absolutely inhumane.
I don't need to see the video.
And it's serial inhumanity.
You know, John, unlike previous cases of police
brutality I don't want to know.
here in the United States, these officers
I don't want to know.
were promptly fired and are already facing very, very serious charges. Do you see that as evidence?
Cyber, you want to smoke, buddy? Quarter of the hour?
Learn from the mistakes
or something.
Pack one, bro. Let me pack one.
Or 710. Cheers.
CJ Davis here recognized immediately what this was.
Great.
And, there were two choices.
Jiminy, cheers. Cyber, cheers. Enoch, Billy. Cheers. Everybody in the Rumble sphere, cheers.
And then have the administrative process wait. She said, I'm firing these officers because what I see on the video is crystal clear, and there's no coming back from that. Now, there are places, Wolf, and this is important, where the civil service laws as constructed wouldn't allow that to happen so fast. They would be suspended, first without pay, then with pay. This could be drawn out. But she took advantage of her situation there and acted directly and swiftly and surely.
Yeah, to her credit. Ariva, all 5 of these police officers behaved in a way that resulted in charges of second-degree murder. What does that say to you about the culture of at least some members of this department?
Yeah, well, if it says that we have a lot of work to do, as Cornell indicated, I think what's so galling for so many people, even though we haven't seen the video, is the notion that 5 officers could be at the scene, and perhaps even more that we don't know about, but that those 5 who participated in this brutality, that not one of them had the presence of mind to say to the others, enough, stop, we're going too far.
He died 3 days after they beat him, bro.
He's in handcuffs. And given what we witnessed with Derek Chauvin and the kneeling on George Floyd's neck and the civil unrest that we saw happen across the world after George Floyd, you wonder how can any police officer in America, in any police department, not have that in their minds,
I am guilty
and their hearts when they go out and face the public. So
I'm guilty at times, I must say, for just assuming that you guys watch my show and pay attention. We've been talking about this, but my bad. I just figured you guys all knew what was going on. I knew all the details.
Probable cause. She didn't even see a reason for Mr. Nichols to be stopped. That another unarmed black man died in the custody of police during a routine traffic stop says everything we need to know, which is that policing in this country is in crisis.
You know, Shimon, the city wanted these charges to be announced before the actual video, which is brutal, was released. Has that helped ease anger and anxiety among members of the community? You're there for us.
Well, for the most part, things have been very peaceful here. People are just, it's just another day. Certainly there's a lot of emotion. You go to the store, the restaurant, anywhere you go here, people, you can feel there's emotion, there's some tension, but we haven't seen any kind of influx of people to indicate, like we have during some other situations, where people come from out of town to protest or anything like that. We've not seen that. For the most part, it's been a very quiet downtown here in Memphis, and people have just proceeded with their day. Certainly this is on the mind of everyone here, and everyone is hoping and expecting a peaceful night. No one is expecting any kind of drama, but nonetheless, of course, the police are prepared, Wolf.
Cornell, I know you've worked in recent years with cities across the United States
totally going to get killed on that
police
screen,
brutality,
bro.
and that work toward nonviolent encounters
He's totally going to get killed.
Continues right now. Tell us how
right
you plan
in front
to
of you.
approach this going forward.
Well, our social justice public policy clinic at the Harvard Kennedy School, we work with students who work with mayors and police chiefs to reimagine policing. So in other words, thinking about policing as you would public health, right? In other words, police officers working beside social workers, working beside teachers, working beside many members of the community to keep the community safe. And
that
so
police chief,
putting the accent on
she allowed for that culture to exist in her police force. You're absolutely right, Spy. You're absolutely right.
Tools. Let's be clear about this.
It's her fault.
We have this specialized
Those
unit,
guys were under her
this
supervision.
So-called Scorpion unit.
That's true.
Where you have officers who can jump out of cars, who are in plain clothes, who function like an occupying army. There are other ways
function like a Gestapo,
so that you're able to get at weapons, you're able to get at people who pose a harm to the community. So what we look to do in the future is to gauge more mayors, more police chiefs to both change policy and the culture of policing. And to be clear, policing should not be assumed to be necessarily violent, right? It should be routinely non-violent, right? This should not be a matter where we just accept the death of civilians as the price, the casualties of policing.
Cornell, thanks for all you're doing. Everybody stand by. Cornell, you too. Right now, I want to bring in the Vice Chair of the Memphis City Council, J.B. Smiley Jr. J.B., thanks for joining us. I know you got a lot going on right now. What steps are you and your fellow members of the City Council taking now to prepare the community for what's been described as a truly appalling video? And what are you bracing for on a personal level as you prepare to see this?
Well, what the Memphis City Council has done in terms of getting the community prepared for what we believe to be essentially almost a repeat of Rodney King is, getting on the phone, talking to the community leaders, talking to the community activists, talking to the faith-based leaders, trying to ensure them that we're going to take all these steps necessary to make sure this never happens again. And if you know anything about the city of Memphis, it's a community of people who lean heavily on their faith. And I believe the faith leaders have an opportunity to step up and show the world how we will handle this going forward. And I do believe what you will see, peaceful protests in the city of Memphis. There are a couple of organizations that are organizing right now.
That's what he believes.
Station one. Get ready to organize near the
we shall overcome, man. So let's all hold our hands and lock arms and sing peacefully.
Your police chief there in Memphis tells CNN there's no evidence Tyre Nichols was actually driving recklessly. And Tyre Nichols' mother says she believes police attempted a cover-up in the aftermath. Does this raise broader questions about the culture of the Memphis Police Department?
Well, absolutely. I do believe it raises more questions. If you paid attention to what happened in Memphis after
Holy moly, guys.
Floyd in 2020, our council proposed several initiatives to target police reform, and our police department pushed back pretty harshly, sternly against those reforms.
You guys,
I do believe
court releases video of attack on Paul Pelosi. You could see them standing in the doorway with the guy with the hammer. Oh my God, dude. There's a still shot. There's a still shot of the dude with Paul Pelosi with the hammer in his hand. Oh, there's a video. Dude.
To disband that so-called Scorpion police unit in Memphis, focusing in on
This video contains disturbing images and language. Oh shit, dude. They're showing the guy smashing into their house and everything. This is crazy.
There needs to be some type of direct supervision. If there is this organization, this unit is absent of supervision, I do believe we need to disband it. We have to take all the appropriate steps going forward so that Memphis sets the standard on how to respond to tragic incidents like this.
We're going to have much more later this hour on the Scorpion unit. A lot of background as well. J.B. Smiley Jr.
Bro,
all you're doing. Thanks so much for
here's the Paul Pelosi attack, guys,
coming up. We'll have more
from CNN.
out of Memphis. The police chief is speaking with CNN. We'll share that with you right here in the Situation Room after a quick break.
Okay. That's the dude breaking into their...
And a big moment for you. And it all happens thanks to the experts at Paychecks.
Dude, I hit fucking mute, you fucking cunts. Sorry. Please pardon my French, speaking a foreign language. Here's the body cam footage. There he is with the hammer. Oh my goodness gracious, holy moly. He's smiling. Oh my God. It's a big hammer. Oh my God. Holy moly.
Oh shit, dude. Jesus Christ.
Whoa, dude. He was down, bro. He was down, man. That was a shot. Wow, man. I don't know why there's no audio here. Here we go.
His arrest, David DePape's arrest, he lays out everything. It's an audio recording that I just listened to. I took a lot of notes, so bear with me a little bit. I want to take you through some of the highlights and what led up to that moment. David DePape admits to breaking in, and he says that it is a very big house, and he went there to find Nancy and was thinking when he got inside, because it was so empty, maybe she's not here. He eventually was able to find Paul Pelosi, who was sleeping in his bed, he said, and that's when they started talking. Obviously, he said that Paul Pelosi was very surprised to see him, and he said that he told Paul Pelosi that he was going to hold Nancy hostage and he wanted to talk to her, but Paul Pelosi said she's not here, and it sounded like, based on his conversation, that David DePape knew that Paul Pelosi was trying to keep things calm in order to not escalate the situation. David DePape admitted to an investigator he wanted to tie him up so he could do what he needed to do, but Paul was able to get out of bed and eventually make his way to the bathroom, where he made that 911 call, which we've also listened to that audio, and you can hear Paul Pelosi trying to subtly tell the 911 dispatcher that somebody has come into the house looking for Nancy Pelosi. And it's around that time that David DePape admitted to the investigator in his interview that he started to get agitated because he was there for a purpose. He said he wanted to hold Nancy Pelosi hostage. And
You guys want to see the video again?
No, I don't need to see it again.
Cyber's like, I've seen enough.
I mean, I love violence, but that's fucking insane, man.
That was crazy.
Piece of arrest video showing Tyree Nichols' fatal encounter with police. Today, the chief of the Memphis Police Department spoke with CNN's Don Lemon.
Well, from the very beginning, to me, they were riled up. You know, I don't think they were as amped up as they were on the second, at the second scene, but just the stop, the nature of the stop, very aggressive, loud, you know, communication, and it just rose from there. It escalated from there. Mr. Nichols was able to get away from these officers, and they found him again at another location, and at that point, there was an amount of aggression that is unexplainable. You know, in any instance where you're apprehending someone, even in the worst situations when there is resistance, officers still have the responsibility to exercise care and regard for any individual that's in custody.
23, it's falling, 23-048.
And to de-escalate.
And to de-escalate. And that's a piece I think that is
people are pulling their money out of crypto in
escalation was
in fear of what's about to happen right here.
Officers before training even needed to come in.
You better get my crypto out right now, man. The whole market's about to crash.
The escalation was already at a high level.
The United States is about to go into a complete state of.
You think this was outside of their training?
Oh, absolutely.
Of chaos.
All right, let's bring back our experts for some more analysis. And Shimon, what can you tell us about the EMTs on the scene?
Well, you know, we've been hearing a lot about the officers and their failure to de-escalate and their failure to take actions. But we've also learned in the past few days, really more information about 2 EMTs that were on scene. And there appears to be some delay in care here for Mr. Nichols, that they failed to render aid quicker. The police chief indicating that it took several minutes before Nichols was administered aid. And then the DA yesterday as well talking about that. Now, those 2 EMTs were relieved of their duties. They're no longer working. They haven't been fired, but they're certainly not on the streets. And then today we learned from the fire department, which oversees the EMTs, that they had not viewed this video until today. And now, as a result of viewing this video, they're conducting their investigation and will have to make some decisions about these EMTs. But I think it's significant because we don't have a explanation as to why care was not given to Tyre Nichols sooner, and that is something that we still do not have answers to.
Yeah, they could have saved his life. John, you just heard the police chief there in Memphis describe the aggression these police officers exhibited from the very beginning of their encounter with Nichols. That certainly seems to fly in the face of their training, doesn't it?
Well, it does, and it flies particularly in the face of, you know, kind of the mantra of C.J. Davis. She is the chief of Memphis, but before that she was a chief in Durham, North Carolina. Before that she was with Atlanta PD. But importantly, she was the head of NOBLE, which is the National Organization of Black Law Enforcement. And, you know, I've seen her testimony before the Senate as the head of NOBLE, where she said, you know, there should be mandatory national standards for police use of force, which would include the duty to intervene, pull your partner off if it's going too far, the duty to render aid, the duty to report these things, and so on. So this had to be a particularly shocking event for her to see, given the tenets she's been putting forward and what's included in Memphis's own police policy.
Yeah, you're right. You know, Ariva, the police chief also revealed to CNN that there's no evidence that Nichols was actually driving recklessly. Does that reveal a larger problem about profiling or police tactics, for that matter?
Oh, absolutely, Wolf. And I think that's going to be further explored, not only in the state case, but we have to keep in mind that there has been a federal criminal civil rights investigation opened by the U.S. Department of Justice. And one thing that may happen, in addition to additional charges being filed against these 5 officers, and perhaps even some of those EMT workers that we've talked about, but a lawsuit actually filed against the Memphis Police Department if there is evidence of some kind of pattern and practice of racial profiling of African Americans. So I don't think this case ends with the charges, the individual charges against these officers. I think there's a lot more that we're going to learn about that police department. And we heard the city council members say that after George Floyd's murder, there were efforts to implement certain reforms that were resisted by the police department. So there's a lot more that needs to be known about what those efforts were and why the police department resisted some of the reform efforts that the city council member talked about.
Cornell, I know you're the former head of the NAACP. What advice do you have for anyone who is bracing for the video of this horrific incident, or anyone who has heard the details of Nichols' killing and is feeling anger or devastation tonight?
as you watch the video of Mr. Nichols being murdered, to focus on him, focus on his family, focus on his son, and seeking justice for that family, for this victim, not merely non-violent, but persistent, with perseverance, with determination. So in other words, we can't get distracted by the expectation that those protesting the violence of the police will engage in violence. We have to focus on the fact that even we go back to Rodney King, 60 people lost their lives in the unrest, but 1,000 people lose their lives at the hands of the police each and every year. So we can't get distracted by the prospect and possibility of violence. We must focus like a laser beam on getting justice for this family and frankly, turning around policing in this country, because we cannot continue to do that which is so violently and so routinely done every day. And Wolf, I might note that these so-called suppression units, Tyre Nichols' attorneys pose the question of, to what degree do we see disparities of violence, arrest, and the treatment according to Black people relative to other people? And is this in fact necessary? And so we have to focus on disbanding this unit, turning around this police department, and turning around policing nationwide, because this is just the latest in a long series.
Yeah, there's still, as you would know better than I do, there's a lot of work that clearly needs to be done across the country. Cornell William Brooks, thank you very much. Shimon Prokupez, John Miller, Ariva Martin, thanks to you guys as well. Up next, there's more disturbing new video just released showing a man breaking into the San Francisco home of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and brutally attacking her husband, Paul Pelosi, 82 years old, with a hammer.
When you have auto glass damage, trust Safelite.
Dude, they just showed that shit. That's funny. We're watching it on live now. We saw it on the website first. It's crazy timing, huh? We're going to release this on the day that this other video is getting released.
Oh, I have a ball pack if it is. Anyone want to smoke?
Yeah, sure, whatever. Psh.
I'm good.
I gotta put a bun in my thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Doesn't kick me.
It doesn't take me long. I'm quick like that. And one of them, what they call those things, what do they call those freaking things I am there? They call them things a freaking expert. That's what I am. No law regarding cannabis. Cheers, Cyber. Cheers, Jiminy. Cheers, Enoch. And everybody else over there on the Rumble sphere. That would include, but not limited to, Token Tony Z. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, bro. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, John Mallory.
In today's video, we're covering the recession and warning signs of further economic slowdown. In today's video, we're covering 4 topics. The first one's GDP, 2, unemployment, 3, the health of the US consumer, and 4, the inverted yield curve. So we're going to begin with GDP.
GDP.
Adjusted for inflation, GDP rose at an annual rate of 2.9% in Q4 of 2022. That's represented by the green bar. This is slightly down from 3.2% in Q3 of 2022.
Grapes.
It's down from 6.9% in Q4 of 2021. You can see the economic contraction during the Great Recession, as well as during the pandemic. So during the pandemic, it goes even lower. It just got cut off the charts. I do not believe that this recession will be as severe as those, but as you can see, we're not in the thick of it yet, so not even close. So I want to point out that in Q1 and Q2 of 2022, those smaller red contractions, so that was mostly attributable to the trade deficit. Exports add to GDP, imports subtract. During the pandemic, we were exporting less and importing much more. So regarding this GDP report, it was the strength of the US consumer. It was consumer spending that helped to drive fourth quarter gains. It basically means that US consumers, they're still spending at healthy levels. Consumer spending averages 68% of GDP, that's at pre-pandemic levels. In Q4, it was at 70.6%. What hurt GDP was the weakening housing market and cost cutting from businesses. Okay, so for 2023, we're starting off the year January 1st with some good stats, 2.9%
Police
annual
body
growth.
camera video showing
However,
the brutal attack on the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi inside their San Francisco home. CNN national correspondent Nick Watt is working the story for us. Nick, we want to warn our viewers, of course, this video is very disturbing.
Wolf, it certainly is. Listen, CNN and a bunch of other news organizations petitioned to have this material released. Previously, it had only been seen and heard in court. Now, what we got today, the body cams worn by the SFPD officers, some surveillance video from outside, also audio, Paul Pelosi's 911 call,
Fuck, dude.
and also the suspect's interview with police.
2:31 a.m. October 28th. SFPD officers arrive at the Pelosi home.
Okay, they're going to
What's going on,
explain.
man? Everything's good.
Oh, there's the audio.
Hi.
Drop the hammer.
Nope.
Hey. What is going on right now?
I think he grabbed the hammer, and so I basically yanked it away from him.
So,
Give me your hand.
we got the audio that
had
time.
allegedly broken in about a half hour before.
I'm starting to think like, oh, they're not even here.
That's cool. I wanted to hear the commentary over it. They're showing it over and over again. The guy had a smile on his face. How's it going? He had the hammer. Police should have acted immediately. There's a suspect with a weapon right in front of you, with a potential victim in front of them. They're trained. They go into a home. They see cardboard cutouts of the bad guy with a gun, with a person in front of them. You got to react. You pull your gun and you shoot. Those cops just stood there, bro. Crazy. What kind of training was that? Right?
Meanwhile,
am I right?
They'll kill that. They beat down that other kid.
Dude, there was a hammer in the dude's hand. You could see it. The police could see it. They could see there was some kind of a problem. Their guns should have been drawn. They should have been pointed right at that guy's face. They should have been immediately. They should have known that that was Paul Pelosi, that there was an old man in there. They were on with dispatch that told them what the situation was. They were looking for a suspect that was younger, that was in there. Yeah, I can't talk to this guy right now. I can't talk. Live. I'm doing a live show. We can't talk. I'll call you back. Dude, he better not be calling me with bad news, I swear. No bad news. They interviewed the guy about it afterwards, and he said he tried as hard as he could to hit that guy. He said I wasn't trying to hit him easy. He said I was trying to hit him as hard as I could. He admits it. He's not ashamed of what he did at all. It's crazy to see them interview him and listen to what he says in these interviews. We got a lot of news going on tonight, folks. A lot of news. It's a newsy night.
As Indiana Home saying, and I'm quoting now, mistakes were made. CNN senior justice correspondent Evan Perez is working the story for us. So what else is the former
I'll
Vice
show you the
President
mistake
saying?
that was made.
Well,
That's the mistake that was made. How long did that take me to do?
Lawyers, he and his lawyers are.
That's the
being with
mistake that was
Justice
made.
Department,
Both of
which
those
is doing
pigs.
A review. We're talking obviously.
Oh, we're talking about
a dozen
Pence.
documents that
Oh,
were
okay.
recovered from his home. He says he alerted the
Mike Pence,
the FBI
stand-up guy,
immediately,
actually
archived
admits it was
immediately
his
about the
responsibility.
discovery.
He
And
says he
what
did the
we know
wrong
from,
thing.
Jamie
He
Vandel's
apologizes
reporting is that,
and takes
you know,
full
the
responsibility
involved
for the
we're talking
documents.
about here are
He's the only
mostly,
one out of
briefing
Biden and Trump.
documents,
He's the
lower
only one
classification.
that actually
And
takes
as you can get
responsibility
from
and
this,
spoke to
clip of
America
what, the Vice President-
plainly,
the President says,
honestly,
he's trying to
and just
emphasize
looked right
that
in the
they
camera and said,
obviously
look,
are
man,
cooperating
I
and
screwed
want this
up,
to be over as
but
quickly as possible.
I'm
Listen.
giving him back. It wasn't intentional.
Let me
The
be
only
clear.
one to just admit it. Here you go.
Those classified documents should not have been in my personal residence.
Good for
Mistakes were
him.
made.
Good for him.
And I take full responsibility.
Good for him.
And we'll
There you go.
Taking full responsibility. Look,
He's the
I'll
biggest
point
out of
that
the
this
three.
is a bit of a contrast with.
I tell you
President
what,
Biden,
if he
who
runs
has,
for president of the
tried
United
to
States,
say that there was
he
no
will
there
hold
there
that over
and has tried
Biden
to
and
diminish
Trump
all of this.
during those
Obviously, there's been a lot
debates,
of cooperation
and
by
there's
President
nothing
Biden
they
and
will
his
be
team
able
with
to
the Justice
do
Department.
to
What we've seen
undo
happen, though, in
their
that case
lack
is
of
the
attention to
FBI
these
decided
matters.
that they needed
That
to
he
do a search.
immediately
The
stood up and
president's
said, "Hey,
team
I got a
obviously
problem."
Invited the FBI to do that search,
President.
which happened a week
He
ago.
acted
The question right now,
presidential.
Wolf, is,
Mike Pence
will the
acted
FBI
presidential.
Be doing the same thing with the
Mike
former
Pence.
vice president's home? Will they do a search
funny,
in
isn't
his
it?
home in Indiana?
Well, we shall see probably sooner rather than later. Evan, thank you very, very much. The January 6th rioter who assaulted Capitol Police Officer Brian Sicknick with pepper spray has just been sentenced to more than 6 years in jail. Dozens of Capitol Police packed the courtroom for the proceeding. Julian Cater pleaded guilty to attacking Sicknick, who suffered a series of strokes hours after the insurrection and died the next day. The Washington, D.C. medical examiner determined that the attack was a factor in Sicknick's death. Just ahead, at least 7 are dead after a gunman opened fire at a synagogue in Jerusalem. One Israeli authority calling it one of the worst terror attacks in years. We'll go live to the scene. We'll get a full report.
When you have auto glass damage,
Man, I
you are
hit
on a
volume,
trajectory,
dude,
and we're losing
bastards.
momentum. So if you want confirmation, you could just listen to the earnings calls by companies on the stock market. The theme is a slowing economy and slowing demand. But I mean, I don't think that's news to anyone, but it's just confirmation. So here's the situation. Inflation hit 9.1% in June. The Federal Reserve, they turned off the money printers, they raised interest rates. That has brought inflation down to 6.5%, but it's also putting pressure on the US economy. So some sectors, they're more interest rate sensitive than others, and they're feeling the pain more quickly than others. So take a look at real estate, that's a good example. Mortgage originations, they're down 86% year over year. So I don't think anybody's gonna argue that monetary policy is dictating the economy. So the Federal Reserve is hoping that their restrictive monetary policy, it's gonna bring down inflation and only slow down the economy and avoid economic contraction. So in plain English, the Fed is hoping that the economy will continue to grow, but just at a slower rate. So this is what they mean when they say a soft landing. They don't mean a mild recession. They mean maintaining positive GDP. So Luke Tilley, the chief economist at Wilmington Trust, said,
$13,100,
"If we
guys.
continue to get strong job growth and consumer spending on services, and companies do not cut back on capital expenditures, I think that adds fuel to the soft landing story." And a lot of people are buying into this story. They believe that the worst is over, and they believe a soft landing. However, And there are many people that are skeptical of this because of economic indicators. So listen, people do not want a recession. However, people don't want to be out of touch with reality either. So I believe that we're all adults.
I believe that
we can handle the truth.
I believe we're all adults.
If there's going to be a recession, there's going to be a recession. We just don't want to be misled or unprepared. So I just want to have an honest conversation about this. So let's talk about the labor market and unemployment. So first you have to understand that real wages are down and they continue to decline. So according to the government, the purchasing power
7
of everyday
p.m.
Americans
Spy
fell.
Kesta, thank you so
Wage
much. Thank you so much for that. 7 p.m. I think we'll just go right through.
To continue this
We'll
year.
power through it.
And to make matters worse, unemployment will rise. So job cuts have been accelerating at tech companies. In tech, they don't like to call it downsizing. They like to call it right-sizing. It sounds better. Outside of tech, they call it what it is. They call it layoffs. In 2022, the tech sector announced 97,000 job cuts. This is up 650% compared to 2021. And when companies announce layoffs, they usually do them in multiple rounds, so they're probably not done yet. IBM announced 3,900 layoffs. Salesforce, 8,000. Microsoft, 10,000. Alphabet, so Google, 12,000. Amazon, 18,000. And now the layoffs are starting to spill outside of tech. Dow Inc., so that's the big chemical company, announced 2,000 job cuts. They're trying to achieve $1 billion in cost reductions. 3M in manufacturing announced 2,500 job cuts. They're saying that demand has weakened significantly in late 2022, and they expect lower sales in 2023. So we see it spreading into finance and banking. Bank of New York Mellon, 1,500 jobs. Goldman Sachs, 3,200 jobs. We see it in retail, Bed Bath & Beyond. And there's going to be more layoffs when the bankruptcies come, more bankruptcies come. And I want to say this because I think this is very important. Something that I don't like about the headlines for unemployment and the unemployment reports is that they can be very misleading. So the rate of unemployment is cited at 3.5%. However,
At least 7 people and injured several more. The gunman was pronounced dead at the scene after a chase and a shootout with local police. Israel is calling the deadly incident a terrorist attack. CNN's Hadass Gold is now at the scene. She's joining us live from Jerusalem. Hadass, what more can you tell us? What are you learning about this attack?
Wolf, Israeli police saying this attack started around 8:15 local, just outside of a synagogue in Neve Yaakov. We're about northeast neighborhood of Jerusalem. Police say that worshipers were leaving the synagogue. It's Friday night, it's Shabbat, so the synagogue was likely full of people. That's when the attack started, and at least 7 people have been killed, 5 men and 2 women, and several have been injured. Among the injured is a 15-year-old boy. The attacker then actually came down this hill behind me, and I want to step back so my cameraman can actually zoom in, because you can see where the police are standing is a white sedan. That is the car that the attacker got into, started driving, and where that car is parked is actually where he then encountered police, who then shot and killed the assailant. Israeli police are saying that the attacker is a 21-year-old Palestinian resident of East Jerusalem, and as far as they know, he was working alone. The Israeli police are calling this a heinous terrorist attack. They say it's one of the worst attacks that they've seen in recent memory. Benjamin Netanyahu also just recently spoke to the media. He called on people to act with determination and composure, and called on people not to take the law into their own hands, saying more decisions will be coming soon. This has been a very tense and violent past 2 days or so. We've been reporting on this for the past 2 days. Yesterday was one of the deadliest days for Palestinians in more than a year in the West Bank, after an Israeli military raid in Jenin killed 9. Another Palestinian was killed later in the day. And then last night, rockets were fired from Gaza into Israel by militants. Israel responding with airstrikes. And then tonight we had this shooting attack. There was already concern the situation was so volatile that it was going to spiral out of control. And this may be the incident that really sets off that potential spiral. There is now a question about what's going to happen next. This is a big test for this new government under Benjamin Netanyahu. He is returning as prime minister, but he has a new right-wing government. It's the most far right-wing in Israeli history. So the big question will be, how are they going to respond, and when? What is going to be the next steps? And I should note, Wolf, Then in the next few days, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken will be here meeting with both Israeli and Palestinian leaders. Wolf.
Tension clearly escalating over there. Adas Gold in Jerusalem for us. Thank you very much. Coming up, the Memphis Police Scorpion Unit is under increasing scrutiny right now.
Dude, are they going to a
after
commercial
some of its
again?
members were charged with the murder of Tyre Nichols.
Holy
now, an
shit.
attorney for the Nichols family is asking the police department to disband the group. Up next, we'll take a closer look at.
Dude, how the hell they going to do a commercial so quick?
The U.S. Chamber of Commerce just wrote that we have 2.95 million less workers today compared to pre-pandemic levels. So you can see that from the labor participation rate, so it's not hidden data, but the headlines can be very misleading. If you can't find a job for long enough, then you're no longer considered unemployed. However, I don't want to discount the fact that many seniors decided to retire early under good or bad circumstances. Anyways, just take it into consideration when you read the headlines. That's all I'm saying. Regardless, unemployment will go up. The expectation is to 4.4% to 4.9% this year. That means more than 1 million more job losses this year. And if it continues into 2024, then it could be more. Now, GDP was propped up by the strength of the U.S. consumer. Okay, so for this year, we know what we have in store for us. It's the continuation of declining real wages, so purchasing power falls, unemployment is going to rise, and we know that retail sales are declining. Americans are cutting back on their spending. The U.S. Commerce Department reported that retail sales fell by 1.1% in December, following a 1% drop in November. So Moody's vice president said, and I quote, "There are cracks appearing in the resiliency that consumers have shown in 2022, as higher prices and interest rate increases finally take their toll." So Moody's expects that consumers will now be more selective in their spending and will postpone purchases. And the data shows that more Americans are now relying on their credit cards for day-to-day living expenses. So 46% of credit card holders carry a balance month to month. And now, because of higher interest rates, it's more expensive to do so. Credit card defaults are rising, and a lot of households, they're not facing the reality and they're not adjusting their spending habits. So please don't let this happen to you, because the economic situation is going to get worse before it gets better. Okay, so the narrative in the mainstream media is a soft landing. The thesis is on the strength of the U.S. consumer and a strong labor market. But the data is screaming in our face that the U.S. consumer is weakening and that unemployment will go up and that negative real wages will persist. So that's why I'm skeptical of this narrative. And outside of U.S. consumer data and unemployment, you have the bond market indicating a recession. The yield curves are inverted. A yield curve inversion, the 2-year and the 10-year, has preceded every recession since the 1960s. So obviously you can't just look at the inversion to predict a recession, but this is just an additional warning sign. The yield curve has accurately predicted the last 6 recessions. All right, so I'll end with this. The street estimates for this year are: real GDP growth in the US will be 0.3%. CPI inflation will end the year at 4.0%. Unemployment, 4.5%. 10-year treasury yield will be at 3.8%. I believe that we will not have a soft landing. However, I do not believe that this recession will be as bad as the Great Recession. Inflation, it's my belief that it'll get stickier in the 5% range, and the Fed will have to maintain a hawkish stance for the time being. So what I'm saying is that things will get worse before they get better. But I just want to say, listen, it's not going to be the end of the world, and a lot of economic opportunities will arise during the turmoil. So be prepared. Don't get yourself into financial trouble as the economy worsens, and jump on the opportunities when they pop up. When there's blood in the streets, you buy property. So I'm not talking about not just realty, not just physical real estate. I'm talking about stocks, cryptos, also real estate. As they fall in price, that's the best time to buy. Please subscribe. I thank you for all the support and wish you a very nice day.
Were members of the city's so-called Scorpion Unit. An attorney for the Nichols family says the city should immediately disband that group. CNN's Brian Todd is looking into the controversial unit for us. He's getting new information. What are you learning, Brian?
Right, well, this unit has not been in existence for very long, but already has a history of controversy. And tonight, the attorneys for Tyre Nichols' family calling on the police chief to take the swiftest, most decisive action against that unit.
Asking Chief Davis to disband this Scorpion unit effective immediately.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely.
The intent of the Scorpion unit has now been corrupted.
Scorpion, standing for Street Crimes Operation to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhood, is a specialized unit of the Memphis Police created by the current chief, Sherilyn C.J. Davis, in the fall of 2021, with a promo video accompanying its launch. Chief Davis told our Don Lemon they needed a unit to address a surge of violent crimes in Memphis.
This is one of 3 teams whose primary responsibility is to reduce gun violence, to be visible in communities, and to also impact the rise in the crime. Basically, out of an outcry from the community, we had record numbers in 2021, 346 homicides.
Chief Davis says the Scorpion unit, at least initially, had great success.
Last year was the first year in a long time that we had reductions.
The mayor's office also touted Scorpion's early success, saying that between its inception in the fall of 2021 through January of 2022, the unit made 566 arrests, seized more than 250 weapons, 270 vehicles.
That doesn't mean
and
anything.
Over $100,000 in cash.
That doesn't mean
but in its
anything.
brief lifetime, there's already a history of tension.
It just
between
means they're a
Scorpion
pack of
officers
thieves.
in the community. Attorneys for Tyre Nichols' family say the unit goes around in unmarked cars and is sometimes unnecessarily aggressive. Family attorney Ben Crump relayed one account that a local man had also described to media outlets of his encounter with Scorpion.
There's a brother who said 4 or 5 days before this happened to Tyree, that same Scorpion unit confronted him while he was in his car going to get pizza. And he said that they used all kind of profanity against him. They threw him on the ground, talking about where the drugs and where the weapons.
And Crump said the officers pointed a gun at the man's head. CNN has reached out to the Memphis police for response to that account. We haven't heard back. One law enforcement veteran described issues that often crop up with specialized units in city police departments.
Generally speaking, when we have an enforcement-driven unit, these units have a greater propensity to rack up complaints against them based on excessive force. But the terminal piece in this is overall supervision. So I believe that we had a failure in supervision and there was no appropriate oversight to ensure that these officers were doing what they were supposed to do.
You need to supervise yourself when you're a pig.
Again, the Memphis Police Department has not responded to specific allegations of previous use of excessive force by the Scorpion unit, but the Memphis Police do tell CNN that unit and all other specialized units in the Memphis Police Force are going to undergo a review and that the Scorpion unit is, quote, inactivated during the review process. Wolf.
All right, Brian, thank you very much for that report. Brian Todd reporting. Today is Holocaust Remembrance Day here in the United States and around the world, honoring the 6 million Jews murdered by the Nazis. For me, this is very personal. All 4 of my grandparents, Polish Jews, were among those murdered. My mom and dad survived the concentration camps and came to the United States after the war. I grew up knowing my parents were Holocaust survivors, but it wasn't until last year, while preparing my CNN documentary on the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum here in Washington, that I discovered my dad's personal testimony of his experience.
Well, because when I arrived in Buchenwald, I saw outside laying dozens upon dozens upon dozens of dead bodies laid out like in a forest wood. And I thought, I got to get out from over here.
How would you like future generations to remember the Holocaust?
The future generations to remember the Holocaust, everything which is written, what people telling you is the truth.
What's especially painful is that we're seeing increased anti-Semitism and even Holocaust denialism. As President Biden said today, each of us must speak out against this poison. Together, we must affirm hate has no safe harbor.
Yeah, and hate safe has no safe harbor. Are you speaking out against what Israel's doing to the Palestinians right now, Wolf Blitzer? No. Shut up then. Nobody
Memphis
cares.
police officers
Nobody cares
brutally beating
anymore.
Tyre
You're doing it
Nichols.
to yourselves.
An attorney for the Nichols family, Ben Crump, will join us live right here in the Situation Room.
Boom. Somebody make a clip of that, please, and put that on Twitter for me at Nate's Garden.
you have auto glass
I
damage,
would greatly appreciate that, guys, if you would consider doing that for me. Thank you. All right. So, what else is going on over here on the tubers? Jimmy Dore's live. Huh. 11,000 people watching his show. He's got 11,000 viewers. I've got 13. Stupid bitch on fucking CNN. Oh, she's got a podcast. Yeah, everybody needs to see her fucking podcast. Nobody cares, CNN. Nobody cares. You're trying to freaking be podcasters. You're supposed to be a news company, you know, on TV, not a. You stay off of our freaking podcast waves, you know, because that ain't you at all. You guys are never real enough to be a freaking podcaster. So, I guess I should eat dinner at some point. I don't know what I'm going to eat. I guess I could have some ribs or something.
The reason YouTube have pushed shorts so much lately?
Yes.
They're gonna roll ads out on them from next month. So
ads on shorts?
Yep, to compete with Instagram and TikTok and.
Well, you know what's funny? I don't watch shorts. Ha ha.
Me neither, man.
It's not like I go through TikTok and watch 15-second video after 15-second video after 15-second video after 15-second video. I just can't do that. I just can't do that. I can't live my life like that.
So I guess you don't want to smoke if you're gonna go eat.
No, I'm not gonna go eat.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Then you can smoke.
My bowl is packed, and I am ready. I got your back. My bowl is packed, and my bong has got your back. I'm Nate in the garden, and we're staying awake, son. That's how we do it around here.
All right, I'm packed.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. I'm gonna just make it a little bit brighter. Look at how colorful I am. It's so colorful. Colorful. It's a little too colorful. Okay, that's better. It's a little too sharp and colorful there. Okay. No Laurie Garney Cannabis. Cheers, Cyber. Cheers, Jiminy. Cheers, everybody in the chats. That's Dave C. Fishing. And over there on the Rumble Sphere, of course, the Rumble Sphere. Never forget. Token Tony Z's holding it down. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers, bro. Cheers, everybody.
Watch it filled with smoke.
Camera video showing the arrest of Tyre Nichols in Memphis. Officials and family members who've already viewed
the arrest or the murder.
CNN, it's extremely disturbing to watch. An attorney for the Nichols family, Ben Crump, joins me for an interview in just a few minutes. Also this hour, we'll get reaction from the district attorney there in Memphis prosecuting the case against the former police officers involved in the beating. Welcome to our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer. You're in the Situation Room. We begin our coverage this hour with the expected release of the Tyre Nichols arrest video. CNN is on the ground in Memphis covering this developing story from every angle. Our Don Lemon has been speaking to local officials, family members, including the chief of police there. But first, our senior national correspondent, Sarah Seidner, is joining us with the very latest.
Now he's all clean cut and healthy.
What should we
Thank you, Spy.
tonight, Sarah?
Taking care of myself now.
We know that there is going to be a prayer vigil tonight, a gathering. Beyond that, it has been prayerful and peaceful this whole time throughout these announcements from police, throughout the firings, and throughout
enjoy the peace while it lasts.
We now know 5 officers charged with second-degree murder, among other very serious charges. But there is a concern, there is always a concern, that once this video comes out, video that has been described.
I highly recommend the Mighty Plus Vaporizer. Harv Lenny highly recommends the Mighty Plus Vaporizer. Everybody check out the Mighty Plus. Mighty Plus, Mighty Plus, Mighty Plus, Mighty Plus Vaporizer. Harv Lenny highly recommends it.
Knowing the release of the police video
is it good?
Showing her son being
what is it?
Beaten
What's
by
it look like? How's it do? What's it do?
stop.
Can you do multiple things in it? Can you smoke both flour and concentrate in it? Is it small? Is it micro? Is it macro? What is it, bro? Is it small?
Very horrific. And any of you who have children, please don't let them see it.
Don't let your children see the video.
Acts that defy humanity. You're going to see a disregard for life.
All 5 of these fired officers are now out on bond after being charged with the murder of Tyre Nichols.
They're all
out.
out.
A reckless driving stop that the police chief says her department still can't substantiate.
It doesn't mean that something didn't happen, but there's no proof.
Nichols' mother and stepfather called for calm, but spoke of the horror that unfolded on the video during an exclusive interview with CNN's Don Lemon.
It's still like a nightmare right now. They beat my son to death.
He cried out for his mom.
Yes. Yes, he cried out for me. Because I'm his mother. And that's what he was trying to get home to safety.
I saw officers kicking him. One officer kicked him like he was kicking a football a couple of times. And there was maybe 10 officers on the scene. And nobody tried to stop it.
Soon, the public will be able to judge it for themselves.
There were 10 officers there, and 5 of them did this.
Tonight, I guess. I think people can draw their own conclusions, but I don't imagine there'll be a lot of perceived ambiguity.
Are you saying in plain English that Tyre Nichols was beaten to death by these officers?
Yes, I don't want to get into characterizing the video, but clearly the charges do say that the officers beat him and caused his death and are responsible for his death.
A defense attorney for Desmond Mills Jr., one of the 5
Dabs are clearly too much for me.
charged with murder, says his client has regrets.
Dabs are clearly too much for me.
That
Bro, I've been dabbing this whole show. What are you talking about?
That he is involved or connected to the death of somebody. I caution everyone to look at this with an open mind and to treat each of these officers as individuals.
I don't care what color police officer, but by them being black, it hurt the black community. They have brought shame to their own families. They brought shame to the black community.
And we know that Tyre Nichols' mother says that, at the end of the video, though she hasn't seen it, her husband has, his father has. You hear over and over again Tyre screaming, "Mom." And she believes that he was screaming that because he was about 80 yards from
What,
the
son?
house, hoping
What were you
that
saying about me
she
not
could hear him
dabs?
to help him. She says she cannot
Dabs are
get
too much
over
for me?
the idea that
I bet
she
you I got
was
more
there
dabs than you.
in her son's greatest need. Now, I will also
You don't even know who you're
mention
talking
that
about.
there
You're
is
talking to
a
trendy ass
huge
dabber here,
confirmation on
man.
the part of the family and their
I'm
attorneys
trendy ass
about
dabber.
this scorpion
You
unit
know
We
that?
have heard a lot about. They were involved in this incident. Several of the officers have now, among the 5, been charged in this case with second-degree murder, among other charges. And there is a call now from the family and their attorneys to disband this unit immediately. Well,
Sarah Sider reporting for us on the scene. Sarah, thank you very much. Let's get some more on what's going on. Joining us now, the attorney, Ben Crump. He's representing Tyre Nichols' family. Ben, thank you so much for joining us. So you say the murder charges stem from analyzing this video that we're all about to see. In your words, blow by blow, kick by kick, strike by strike. What are we about to see and hear tonight?
Wolf Blitzer, what we're about to see is something that is deplorable. It is excessive use of force by the police like we haven't witnessed since the likes of Rodney King video. That's what I liken it to. And tragically, Wolf, unlike Rodney King who lived, Tyre Nichols did not survive. And the video is very, very
Why do you let him out on bail? Why was there bail set for these pigs?
Then you have the police body cam video, so you have different angles and you have audio.
No
and
bail.
Every part of it is simply tragic.
What can we expect in terms of the audio that we're about to hear? What that says about the former police officer's intent?
Not only was it excessive use of force, it was excessive profanity. I mean, from the first moment, Wolf Blitzer, that they engaged Tyre Nichols, this 29-year-old unarmed black motorist,
they say Rodney King
they
survived?
start swearing at him, MF this, MF that, son of a bitch.
What, bro?
Didn't Rodney King die? Or didn't she say...
No, Rodney King didn't die from the beating. He survived. He died years and years later.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe he died of a heart attack.
What did I do? And that's his response to all this escalation from the first moment. As the police chief said, they were on 10. I think they were on 10 plus the whole video. And you're going to see it for yourself. Even when they got him putting his head to the ground and stuff, he said, do you all really have to do all of this? And they shut the F up and all this stuff. And it's just so unnecessary, so uncalled for that they can.
He's being pretty explicit about what happened. It's almost like we've seen a lot of it now.
As you watch this video, that just one officer would say, hey, everybody, this kid isn't a criminal. He's calm. Let us be calm. Let's just de-escalate. Let's just everybody calm down. But that never happened the entire video.
Will the video shed light on others at the scene beyond the police officers, talking about the paramedics who failed to provide proper care? Anyone else who could potentially face charges?
Yeah, Wolf, regrettably, you know, after they brutalized Tyre and he's handcuffed.
50 minutes. Dave C's counting down.
Car, and you see his body fall to the right, and then they pick him up after a minute, and then his body falls to the left. Then they pick him up another time, and his body falls again, and he's moaning, and it's clear that he's in distress. You have 2 fire department officials who come on the scene, and for about 5 or 6 minutes, they're just walking around talking too, and nobody is trying to render aid to help this young man who's clearly in distress. And I must say this, Wolf Blitzer.
Wow.
You know, we look at these officers being terminated and charges brought less than 20 days because that video clearly showed that these 5 black police officers committed a crime on that video. Now, this is the blueprint going forward for America, whether the officers are black or white, that they can't tell us it's going to take 6 months to a year to investigate before they can take action. When you had Laquan McDonough killed by white officers, Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Terrence Crutchy, they took all these exorbitant amounts of time, even though they had video. Now we have a blueprint that say, like the chief said, the community needed to see swift action, and swift justice.
Yes.
Well, when black people are killed by white police officers, we need to see the same kind of
Yes.
swift action, same kind of swift justice.
And Wolf, why don't you stand up and why don't you agree with him?
Tyre Nichols' mother, as
Nope,
you know,
because you don't have the
says she
balls,
still hasn't had
Wolf
courage
Blitzer.
to grieve
You don't have the
loss
balls.
of her son.
What a
all of us
pussy.
saw that really wonderful, emotional interview that Don Lemon
Wow,
did with
couldn't
her
even
earlier
just give
today
him
on
an
CNN.
attaboy or
Are his
anything.
loved ones feeling
Nothing.
Tonight, with the world about to see this video.
Wow. Wolf. Wow.
Obviously, it's very emotional.
Wow, Wolf.
Miss Wells and Mr. Wells.
You're a human piece of
the
garbage,
epitome
Wolf.
Of grace. I mean, when you heard her say,
Just here reporting the
she's asking
news,
for
not
prayer, and she's
not trying to
praying
put
for
any
everybody.
spin on
She's
anything.
praying for
Everything you
the
guys
police
do is
officers'
spin.
families
So don't
because
give
she
me
knows
that
they're
garbage.
going through,
You know, you're not
awful
reporting
time
on what
as
goes
well.
on to the
But she
Palestinians.
said that
We just found out
she
today
just
that a
don't
whole bunch of them
understand why they
died
had to
yesterday,
kill
and
her
we didn't know
son,
because they
her
had to kill a
baby,
bunch of Israelis
and
so it
that
would make the
she is
news.
focused on justice.
Now
And
we
even
find
though
out what
she
happens.
hasn't had time to grieve, she thinks getting justice for her son, her youngest child, is more important than her even resting or grieving right now.
I know, Ben, you're calling for the so-called Scorpion unit in the Memphis Police Department to be disbanded. Is a pattern of abuse emerging, and do you have any indication yet?
Is
whether
one
the police
emerging?
department there
He's
will
playing
shut
dumb.
that unit down?
God, he's playing dumb. Of course one's
Well, we
emerging,
certainly hope
Wolf.
so, if
Why do you
they
act
want
like
to
you can't
prevent
see facts
another tragic
that you're
killing
reporting on?
by police like Tyre Nichols, because
This is
we have
watching this
two
is
citizens
psychotic.
now who has contacted my
This is
office.
like
One
brain
said that
worms
he was
eating away at people
attacked by
that
the
feed into this
Scorpion police
narrative.
unit in Memphis, Tennessee, just 4 or 5
Oh,
days
yeah, Wolf,
ago,
he's asking
while he
very
was
good
driving
questions.
just to pick
He's
up a
getting right to the
pizza,
bottom of
that
this.
They attacked him, used profanity, grabbed him out the car, put a gun to his head. Now, this young man actually called the Memphis Police Department to make a complaint. He called twice, and they never responded back to him, he said. And had they responded back, Wolf Blitzer, maybe how Tyre Nichols was killed, that we're about to see on this video, never would have happened.
Wow, man.
Ben Crump, thank you so much for joining us, and please pass along our love to the family members. Our hearts are grieving, obviously. Such an awful situation. Thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Our panel of experts is standing by with more analysis coming up on the late-breaking developments. We'll get their insight right after a quick break.
Wow.
When you
Good golly, Miss Molly, it's news. Some more of it, to be exact, and to be even more exact, some more news about housing and why it's like hard and rough out there, or rather in here, in my home, which, if you've been paying attention, is now owned by Katie, to whom I owe rent, which she is garnishing from my wages and taunting me by sending me actual garnish in the mail, like parsley and stuff. She's like Carrot Top, but sinister. Anyway, here is some news. If you live here in the United States of America, you may be having the same problem. It is becoming way too expensive just to have a place to live and eat and make love. Rents are through the roof, and about 36% of American households are rented. So that means 36% of households are through this aforementioned roof, which probably has a bunch of leaks in it that someone keeps saying they will get around to fixing. Things have gotten so bad that many renters have resorted to costly bidding wars just for the privilege of living in Joe's apartment. Remember that film? That came out in 1996. The same year, rent in New York's Upper East Side was averaging at about $1,300 for a studio. Hey, I wonder how much that would cost today. Meanwhile, people who have saved up money and felt like they were in a position to buy a home are being shut out of the market by sky-high home prices and mortgage rates. Those who have managed to become first-time homebuyers are statistically older than they have ever been and make up only 26% of homebuyers overall, the lowest percentage on record. And even those first-time homebuyers are finding new problems once they move in the form of electrical discharges, flaming ovens, bathtub floor crashes, and Tom Hanks laughing like a seal syndrome. Oh dang, remember that film from 1986 where Tom Hanks and Shelley Long buy a so-called $1 million mansion for $200,000? Fun fact, the actual $1 million house they filmed that movie in went on sale for $5.9 million back in 2018. The point is, home renting and home buying are both Steven Spielberg Presents the Money Pit situations. Even as late 2022 saw prices start to finally cool off, this was still a cooling off from record highs. So it's kind of like being on the cool side of Venus, a chilly heat. So we're going to take a look at the housing market today, why costs are so high, and what potential solutions there might be to change that. It's actually a very simple, complex web of interconnected economic forces, supply chains, profit incentives, and government regulations. Gah! Sounds like a blast. Why is housing so expensive? I probably don't need to prove that housing is bad now, but
now making his first public remarks on the death of TYR Nichols. The president says, and I'm quoting now, he's very concerned about the potential for violence after police.
That's what he's concerned about. You know, you're not concerned about police.
Severely beating TYR.
You're not concerned about police beating people. You're concerned about the response. Hey, Joe Biden.
Express my condolences and told her that I was going to be making a case to the Congress. They should pass the George Floyd Act. We should get this under control. I can only do so much with an executive order at a federal level.
What's the George Floyd Act?
And the prayer,
is it basically my bill?
Call for no peaceful protest, no violence, no movement at all. And so I spoke with her about, 10, 15 minutes. And
are you going to visit Florence next month?
Well, I am. I'm obviously very concerned about it, but I think she has made a very strong plea. She's obviously in enormous pain. She talked about, as you heard her when she spoke publicly, but she also talked about how she didn't know what she was going to do. And I told her that I told her I had some idea of what that loss was like, and that although it's impossible to believe now, the time will come when his memory brings a smile before a tear. And she said she already is thinking about what he would want her to do, which is very positive.
What is at stake tonight, sir, with the nation watching this videotape and what could happen? What is at stake?
What's at stake is, first of all, innocent people's lives, number one. Number two, it has a lot to say and do with the image of America. It has a lot to do with whether or not we are the country we say we are.
We're obviously not. Our police kill us. We're not who we say we are, Joe. Sorry, buddy.
But the courts make their judgment. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, let's bring in our
You're welcome very much.
Don Lemon, I'll start with you. You spoke with TYR Nichols' family earlier this morning. It was such a powerful and gut-wrenching conversation that we all watched. What did you take away from your time with that family?
Wolf, good evening to you. Some of what the president just said. She was doing, she believes, or she is doing what her son would have wanted her to do. And I thought it was striking that she said that she felt sorry for the officers and that she believed that her son was put on this earth for a mission, and perhaps what happened to him was somewhat of an accomplishment of that mission, and that she was going to carry it on. I was surprised that when she walked into the interview, she said to me, "I'm not very good at this, Don." And I said, "You know, I got you, just talk to me." And she ended up, I think she's very good at what she's doing. I can't imagine what she's going through and the strength, Wolf, that it takes to be able to sit down or stand in front of cameras and really pour your heart out. It was gut-wrenching. She was very candid. She's very honest. The thing that stood out to me the most is that she didn't want to see that video. I know it's going to be released very shortly. She didn't want to see it. Even when her husband was sitting there describing it next to her, she was looking away from him and flinching and crying. No one wants to see their loved one beaten in the manner that he was beaten to death.
Yeah, I saw the tears in her
By
eyes. I saw the
police.
tears in your eyes as well, Don. Let me bring Derek Johnson into this. He's the president and CEO of the NAACP.
As if
Derek,
to say that
Nichols's
your
family,
child was some kind of a,
Ben Crump
you know,
just told me that
heinous
when
human
he
being that
watched
didn't
the video
deserve,
of this beating,
you know,
he
the
was
treatment
hoping
that a
and
normal
praying
human
that just
gets.
one officer would call for calm.
Even
And
ones
that
who've been
never
convicted
happened.
of murder
How are you,
and put in
steeling
prison,
yourself right now
you
for
know?
the release of this video? And what advice do you have for anyone who's feeling pain, and a lot of us are, as a result of this killing?
Well, you know, Wolf, I see this in three levels, right? You have the personal family agony of losing a loved one and watching it on tape. You have the community response. Here, yet again, another Americans being killed is going to be on public display, and the trauma of that we have to brace for and hope that the community response would not be something that's in the street. And when we recognize the third part of this,
Beautiful sunset.
the importance of public policy reform. President Biden said it best: we must pass the George Floyd Police Reform Act. It is sickening for us to go through this roller coaster every so many months because another individual is being killed on public display. The NAACP, we were created as a result of race riots. And the founder said in 1909, we can never have the democracy that's promised if we allow for this type of violent behavior to continue to take place. And in 2023, we're still seeing this type of violent act taking place, but now captured on camera. It is a sad moment for America.
Such a sad moment indeed. It happens way, way too often. Chief Ramsey, you're the former police chief here in Washington, the police commissioner in Philadelphia. Let me get your take on that description that multiple officers on the scene did not de-escalate or immediately render medical aid. Does that go against their training?
Well, certainly it goes against the training. It goes against policy. It goes against everything a police officer should stand for. I mean, you know, using excessive force is just unacceptable under any circumstances. And the whole point of this duty to intervene, which police departments across the country are starting to adopt into policy and train on, is that if an officer does lose it and does go too far, that someone stops it before more harm can be committed. One of the things I want to look for tonight, I know those 5 were involved in beating TYR3'S, but were there other officers there? Were they just standing around watching? I mean, what was going on? I mean, those are the kinds of things that you have to look for. It is just unacceptable. We'll know in about an hour or so exactly what it looks like because we'll actually have seen the video. But this is way outside of policy, and there is no training or anything else that are correct. These guys are just conducting a criminal act, period.
Period, indeed. You know, Joey Jackson.
There he is. Finally, he agreed.
Ben Crump, the family
He said
attorney,
that they did
also just
indeed.
told me the murder charges
Finally,
for these
thank
5
you,
fighter
Wolf.
police officers in Memphis were the result of analyzing the video that we're all about to see. What did you take away from what he just described during the interview with me?
Yeah, Wolf, I mean, I took away a number of things, right? Looking at this, of course, as a father, as an individual who thinks we could do better in society, and then as a lawyer. But in the event that the prosecutor charged a second degree, it means that it was a knowing killing. What does that mean? It means that these officers had to appreciate that what they were doing could lead to the consequence of death. And that in and of itself, Wolf, is very chilling.
Don,
Wolf,
yeah,
they
ahead,
described The dad described what was happening when he saw the video. The police chief talked about what she saw in the video. The police chief said, according to her, there were members of the fire department, and 2 members who we don't know who they are. One of them is a woman, because she said she in the interview. She said that they didn't give care for a long time. The dad said that you could see the fire engine or the ambulance pull up, and no one did anything. He said that his son, and this is according to him, was sitting there, slumped over, in handcuffs, and they would simply prop him back up, use expletives, and say, sit the F up. That is what we're going to see on the video. They described in detail what we're going to see. So not only did they just stand by or sit by and do nothing, they taunted this young man, according to the father and according to the police chief. And they said that officers were standing around smoking cigarettes and not doing anything.
Wolf just shook his head.
That is what you're going to see tonight, and I think we must be honest about it. It's not that they just weren't, giving care to him. They were taunting this young man, according to the people who saw the video.
So heartbreaking indeed. All right, everybody stand by. Coming up, the Shelby County District Attorney, Stephen Mulroy, says he's very confident he'll secure convictions against the 5 police officers, former police officers, now charged in the killing of Tyree Nichols. He'll join us next. Stay with us. You're in the...
Wow. That's very good. Now, does the commercial come back on after you mute this? No. Cool. I muted it. Good. Just making sure. What's up, everybody? Made myself full screen there for a minute, didn't I? Looking very important. Cyber's got Lost in Space.
Something like that.
What's it called again?
Dead Space.
Dead Space. Lost in Space. I was close.
You were close.
He's got the Dead Space going. We've been watching that while we're watching.
Yeah.
I'm giving you guys all kinds of... I don't know if people realize here what's going on with the Rumble Sphere, by the way. Let's check in with the Rumble Sphere. 9 watching on the Rumble Sphere. Oh, Token Tony Z's over there blowing up the Rumble Sphere chat. Token Tony Z, let's get you up there. What do you say, pal?
Hey, Token.
Let's do Token Tony Z about this size, I think. Should handle the chat nicely. And then we'll just do one of these with it. Right? And then we'll do this. Like I do. I've got skills. And
skills.
now we'll move the chat over here. So now we got Z. We've got the other chat over here. Uh-oh, they're going to get killed, Cyber.
Yeah, I started the game over.
Oh.
I thought that starting on hard was a little too rough. Started on medium instead.
Okay, that's fair. I just assume less wax to kill a bad guy, so put it on easy. You know, why have to shoot somebody 8 times or hit them 10 times if you could hit them 3 times? You know.
Because I like the challenge, and it's a little harder.
Yeah. I want to see now. If you go harder, you should get more out of the game. They should give you more cool stuff. Should happen with each level that you get harder.
There is a game mode called Impossible, but you only have 1 life, and you can only save 1 time throughout the whole game. But you get some new weapons and some suit and some shit. So it kind of is like that in the game, but it's only on the hardest level.
Wow. And do you have you 1 life, so you don't keep restarting? You have to start at the beginning every time.
Yep.
Well,
but that's kind of a game mode that is in a lot of games these days, where you only have 1 life. Some of the hardest game modes. Resident Evil does it also.
What made Randy Rhoads such a great guitar player?
His phrasing and just the way he fucking played, the way his phrasing in solos, in my opinion.
One of the greatest, right?
Yeah.
There was something about the way he played with a classical...
Yeah, he was classical trained.
You know, and his solos sounded like they were somehow classically inspired as well.
Yeah, classical.
Very,
kind of like
very musical.
Kind of like, yeah, kind of like what is it called
melodic.
Thing, but he just take it to a wild extreme with that neoclassic bullshit.
Melodic.
Randy Rose, he kind of kept it rock and roll and classic at the same time. In my opinion, I might be wrong on that.
American Pain, a CNN special is coming.
Bracing for the release of
soon.
video showing the brutal beating which led to the death of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols. Joining us now is the Shelby County District Attorney, Stephen Mulroy. Stephen,
if I do this dab, I might not be able to function.
Can you walk us through the different angles of the video? That
it's a big one. I'm thinking it's too much.
And broadly, what we can expect to see and hear tonight.
Certainly, you know, there are certain details about the ongoing investigation that I won't be able to go into, and
there we go. That's so much better.
From going too much into characterizing the video when there's a pending
I don't need to get crazy. You're trying to stay up. Stay alert.
You will be seeing the same thing that the family was shown. It's a body cam from the first encounter, and then two body cams and a pole cam, a skycop cam from the second encounter. Everything all together is going to be a little bit over an hour, and although you won't see, the initial traffic stop, you will see almost all of the first encounter as far as we know, and then enough of the second encounter until the victim, until Tyree Nichols is taken away by ambulance.
These 5 ex-police officers there in Memphis all face the same charges, as you well know, and you say you're very confident in securing a conviction. Will we see in this video why you're holding each of them equally responsible?
Huh.
I think that's fair to say.
That's a good question.
That is not the sum total of all the evidence in the case, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but I suspect that the average viewer, after watching the video, will not have too much trouble understanding why all 5 officers are being held.
I wonder if Donald Trump's going to call for the death penalty, for these 5 officers.
That we have a strong case.
The second-degree murder charge is very significant. The Memphis police chief says paramedics failed to render proper care. That's a direct quote. And we know others are under investigation as well. You're not ruling out more charges down the road. Can you give us a sense of a timeline and a scope of potential additional charges?
I can say that nothing that we did yesterday in terms of the indictments precludes us from adding additional charges, including to other persons, later on down the road. As to timing, it's a little bit difficult to say. A typical case like this could take months before, charges are rendered. This obviously was a case that was expedited, but, we may see that timeline or something similar as the case continues to unfold.
The Memphis police chief, Davis, says she doesn't believe the actions of these ex-police officers lined up with their training. So what explains this? Is it a wider problem within the department culture?
I think that might be fair to say. I think that this suggests that there is an issue of culture, and I don't know whether Memphis is really unique in that respect, and I think maybe it should
Cyber, no law regarding cannabis. Cheers, Cyber, and everybody in the chat. Dave C. Fishing, Nate Smith, Token Tony Z over on the Rumble Sphere.
Attorney Stephen Mulroy. Let's continue this conversation down the road. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Wolf.
Coming up, we'll have more on the body camera video showing the arrest of Tyree Nichols in Memphis. We'll get the latest reaction and outrage among those who've already seen it.
America's best game day eats are now shipping nationwide. So if you want Guy Fieri's trash can nachos, the original buffalo chicken wings, world famous Kansas...
Nope. But Guy does have a nice Camaro. called me twice.
It must be important.
I know, right? Bye, thank you.
You're welcome. See you next week,
Hey, try not to watch the news tonight. If you don't want to see that video of that kid getting killed.
Which kid?
Hey, I'm all right. Is everything okay? Oh, good. I saw you tried to call me twice. I'm doing a live show right now. I just want to make sure everything was all right. Let me call you. Can I call you back? You're breaking up, but let me call you back, okay? Okay. Bye. Those 5 police officers killed those 5 black police officers killed that black kid, 29 years old, a couple days ago. They charged all 5 of them with second-degree murder. They're going to release the video in like a half hour.
Oh, the way how they. Oh, my.
So, just so you know, there's probably going to be some.
I don't know what the hell this problem is. You sure it's not a beer on the wrong side?
Pierogi. He's wagging his tail.
I don't know if somebody's out there. What did you say? It's sensitive. Something's out there.
Everybody's satisfied. All right. So, we're back. Okay, here we go. Just in time.
The latest developments in Memphis. Charles Ramsey is back with us. We're also joined by our senior legal analyst, Laura Coates. Laura, the Tennessee District Attorney just told me anyone who views the video, and we're all going to see it fairly soon, will not have trouble understanding why all 5 of these former police officers are being charged. What stood out to you from that conversation?
Well, the idea of what we're about to see is creating a lot of anxiety for so many about just how bad this is. But I think back to yesterday and the decision not to charge first-degree murder.
Dave sees
I'll
like
be
27
looking
minutes.
closely at the why, but knowing, of course, that prosecutors have a very difficult time trying to prove that premeditative state, that decision to kill, especially for officers with the bias often in favor of police officers in this country. So I'm looking to see particularly who chose not to act, who chose not to intervene, given that Memphis in 2020, about a month after George Floyd was killed, like many other jurisdictions, changed their rules to ensure that officers would intervene and not just see something, say something, but do something. Wolf.
Good point. Chief Ramsey, the officers involved in this killing were fired and quickly charged within a matter of a few weeks of the incident. This is far quicker than we've seen in other involved killings.
Yes, it
over
is.
the years.
Yes,
do
it
you see
is.
that as a sign of progress?
I hope so. I certainly hope so. We need to see that.
The ability to do it. There are some jurisdictions.
These guys need to be
where because of
prosecuted.
civil
They
service
need to be
regulations
charged,
or union
prosecuted.
contracts,
Boom.
You cannot immediately fire an individual. They have a due process clause in these contracts. You can suspend them with pay for a period of time.
F that.
To dismiss.
How did she fire him then?
It won't be immediate. So She was fortunate that she had the ability to do that. I think swift action is more than appropriate in this case and other cases that I have seen. So one of the things that has
$1,600
to change
Ethereum,
are
maybe.
the restrictions that police chiefs face across the country. It is not easy to fire a police officer.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it? Maybe let's look at that. Right, Cyber?
Murder. Do you expect
Yes,
we'll see
you
additional
actually
federal
have
charges as this
be way
investigation
easier to
continues?
fire
Well,
and
it passes
be
prologue from
under
the
a
Derek Chauvin
stricter
trial and the
fucking
other
code
officers
than
who were on
anyone
the
else.
scene.
Right.
It is very likely that there might
Yeah.
be a civil rights violation known as kind of the under the color of law. The idea of an officer using their badge, the color blue in the uniform essentially, to justify the exploitation of that power and to use excessive force. If that is what happens here, and the videos seem to indicate from all accounts what we will see, then the Civil Rights Division, who's already looking at this issue from the U.S. Attorney's perspective, would serve as the obvious backstop. But these state-level charges will be important to have it chronologically come first to build that evidence as well.
Laura Coates, Chief Ramsey, guys, thank you very, very much. Coming up, newly released video of the brutal hammer attack on Paul Pelosi, husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
You're welcome. We've got, who is this? Live now from Fox. Fox is covering this too.
Now I will bring up someone who actually is in that club and knows this pain. Our very own Stavante Clark.
Thank you, Betty, for that. And we got a little saying in the movement, no justice, no peace. So if y'all could repeat after me a little bit, if y'all remember. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. And if we don't get it? Y'all remember? If Stefan don't get it, Tyree don't get it, and if we don't get it, so I'm here to welcome this family into a club nobody wants to be a part of, and let you know you got somebody here emotionally and financially, however we can help. For generations and generations.
Fox News is covering this and CNN is not.
Second, I want to say,
this is why I watch different news channels, guys.
It sucks for me to be here talking to you all again under these circumstances. But what I do know is that this needs to be the precedent of what happens when officers kill our loved ones. They need to be fired immediately and charged immediately.
Immediately.
It shouldn't take 6 months.
Amen.
It shouldn't take a year.
Amen.
So I want to commend the chief and the DA
Getting
for
ready
doing
to
their job
heating.
out there in Memphis and acting accordingly. And this needs to be the precedent of how things need to be done. 4 out of the 5 officers have bailed out in less than 24 hours. I don't want to hear any more conversations on bail reform. If you could do so.
All right, remarks there from members.
Oh, they're cutting away.
In Sacramento, California.
Because they're talking about bail reform, so they cut away because it's Fox News.
Well, we're going to take a short break here on
Oh, you bastards.
So much more in just 2 minutes.
That was so obvious why they cut away when he started talking about bail reform, and Fox News does not support bail reform. Oh boy. They're going to have a hard time covering this thing tonight. I want to get rid of that char if it's possible. At the bottom of this thing, kind of clean it. Man, they start saying no justice, no peace, bro. You know, they're getting fired up, man. Those protesters are getting fired up. Ooh. Fox 2, Detroit. We're in a commercial break. CNN's in a commercial break as well. Okay, here comes CNN.
Did they release the video yet? Yeah.
No, not yet.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought about the hammer video.
Aaron Burnett out front. Next on CNN.
I wonder if they'll play how the police reacted.
Other news we're following tonight, disturbing new police body cam video showing the brutal attack on the husband of former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi inside their San Francisco home. CNN's Veronica Miracle has this report, which contains graphics.
You seen the Pelosi attack yet, bro?
Drop the hammer.
No. Hey.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Body camera video shows police struggling with Paul Pelosi's assailant after witnessing the assault. Police responding to the Pelosi home around 2:30 a.m. on October 28th after Paul Pelosi called 911 reporting an attacker had broken into their San Francisco home.
There's a gentleman here just waiting for my wife to come back, Nancy Pelosi. He's just waiting for her to come back. She's not going to be here.
Footage to be more than an hour. Now, the actual video footage is expected to be released in about 15 minutes or so. And once that's done, we will show it to you here on Live Now from Fox. But of course, we will go through that video and make sure just to go through it because it is expected.
They'll go through it just to go through it, guys. That's the reporting. That's the professional reporting you get at Fox News. They're going to go through it just to go through it.
Has been charged with assault and attempted homicide.
Oh, cheers. No longer regarding cannabis. Cheers,
not
everybody.
guilty on all counts. After his arrest, DePape told police
Cheers, Cyber.
he was
Cheers,
out
Jimmy.
to get then
Cheers,
House Speaker
Radisson.
Nancy Pelosi and quote other targets and repeated baseless conspiracy theories about Pelosi and Democrats spying on the Trump campaign.
It's just like an endless rant. It's like the whole 4 years until they were finally able to steal the election.
He said he woke Paul Pelosi and was looking for his wife.
Well, I was going to basically hold her hostage and I was going to talk to her and basically tell her what I do. And she told the truth, I'll let her go scot-free. If she lied, that was going to break the house.
DePape had previously posted conspiracy theories about the January 6th attack at the U.S. Capitol on his Facebook account. He told police,
When I left my house, I left to go fight Germany. I did not leave to go surrender.
Nancy Pelosi spoke with CNN's Chris Wallace about the attack 1 week ago.
How's your...
I know they're watching, ancestors watching. I know ancestors watching. I know they're watching, ancestors watching. I know.
That was tasty and flavorful because it was so low temp. Oh my God. That was magically delicious. 10 minutes.
Forever, but know that they're with us, and we're gonna forever say their names. India Kaga.
They need to fix her mic. Who's they? Who's watching?
Breonna Taylor, Tatiana.
Oh, all the people that have been killed by police are watching. Nice. I like it. See how I figured that out all quickly, guys? You guys like, that's why you watch this show, because I figure stuff out for you. I make it easy. Ooh, bro, they're saying I know they're watching, man. I'm going to hashtag that on Twitter. I know they're hashtag I know they're watching.
Again of the Tyree Nichols video that's expected to be released in about 10 minutes or so. The National Guard has been called in the state of Georgia.
To unholy Rome.
Has declared a state of emergency.
I need a fist in the air in the land of hypocrisy.
And as you can see there in the video,
Why do they have a fist in the air?
There in downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
So again,
right here.
Law enforcement and city officials from across the country just urging people to remain peaceful and calm tonight and through the weekend. After the release of this video, again, it has been described as appalling, inhumane, and really being compared to the Rodney King beating in 1991. All right, meantime, we want to go ahead and bring you remarks from the family of Tyre Nichols. They held a news conference earlier today with their attorney, civil rights attorney, Ben Crump. Here's that.
Yes, you're talking about dignity and grace personified. Said my son is an assignment from God.
I know they're watching, son.
That's sinking. Your son being sacrificed his life so that we can have a greater chance at justice for all. Miss Rovon Wells will now address you. Give her a big round of applause.
Dude, I wondered if you could hashtag an apostrophe in a tweet. I bet you can't.
Thank you all for coming and showing support for my family and my son. I really appreciate everything.
Well, I see people use hashtag and tweets all the time, bro.
No. I said an apostrophe.
Oh, okay.
You can't. It kills it. It stops it.
Okay. Fair enough.
It would have been cool.
This is what he meant, but if
7 minutes.
I really don't know what else to say right now.
How does it look? I don't know what it means.
I've said so many things.
Oh, it's like whenever you say there, THEYRE, or URYOU apostrophe RE.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know what it is. Yeah.
But what I've heard is very horrific. Very horrific. And any of you who have children, please don't let them see it. I just want to ask for prayer for my family, for this whole community. And I want to say to the 5 police officers that murdered my son, you also disgraced your own families when you did this. But you know what? I'm going to pray for you and your families, because at the end of the day,
She's a sweetheart.
this shit
The world doesn't. Whoa! Harmony's at 2120, everybody.
And
that should affect the balance on our trade. Let's update our trade here. It says 13,053. 13,500.
Justice for Tyre.
I'm hashtagging that, justice for Tyre, baby.
Thank everybody again for coming. I have a lot of words that I want to say, but they're just not coming out right.
No, you're fine.
And I still haven't had time to grieve yet. I'm still dealing with the death of my son. This was not supposed to happen. My son.
Tony, thanks for the retweet, bro. Thanks for the like, bro. Thank you.
Always know that.
And mention it by tweeting it back at Nays Garden, and then tweet it at other people too, but include at Nays Garden so I get a mention too.
My son loved me to death, and I loved him to death.
Yes.
And so this is very difficult for me. I'm sorry if I'm not articulating myself a little bit better.
No, you're doing fine.
No mother, no mother, no mother should go through what I'm going through right now. No mother to lose their child to the violent way that I lost my child. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys, I have a hammer in my profile on Twitter. It was there was direct reference to the Paul Pelosi incident, of course. Somebody just tried to call me out on Twitter for having the hammer in my profile. I have no intention of taking that down. You know, what happened in that Pelosi house is exactly how I envisioned it. That's exactly how I envisioned it. Because that's what I heard. Right? That was the story. So I put a hammer in my profile for the very reasons, for the facts that I believed what happened that night was what really happened. And you know what? Turns out I was right. Why would I change that? Huh.
Oh, imagine that some people got their fifis hurt. Jesus Christ.
Someone got their fifis. Someone called more patriot than you got his fifis hurt.
For a mother to know
Such a tough name.
child was calling them in their need, and I wasn't there for him. Do you know how I feel right now? Because I wasn't there for my son. I told.
Take a look at who you are. Well, take a look at me now. There's just an empty space. Mom's gonna be pissed. Well, there's nothing left here to remind you of what I had to face. Well, take a look at me now.
But for me to find out that my son was calling my name, and I was only feet away, did not even hear him.
Oh boy, you guys. 2 minutes away from the release of this video. We've got 2 channels up. We're monitoring both Fox and CNN. I don't know who's gonna. I guess they're both going to air it live. I would think. Chuck Diesel. Yo, Chuckles, 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 Chuckles.
Racism and discrimination.
Chuckles is here. Chuckles is here. Chuckles, Chuckles, Chuckles is here. Chuckles. All right. So now, unfortunately, we have to watch the police murder somebody. So no more happy time. There you go, Tony. Yeah, you retweeted at Nate's Garden. That's nice. You can retweet something at me next time, but that's still cool.
Police culture is not just the police culture, it's the justice system. We have bias.
Oh, there you go. I got you.
Aspect of society.
Selfish vision. I got you.
You don't see officers doing this to white citizens because our court system has said that they value white life more than any other life. And so we finally have to speak truth to
No, man. 29-year-old got murdered by police. He was a skater. He was a skater, dude. And he got murdered by the police, bro. And they're going to show us the video right now in 45 seconds.
brown and black people, that we can trample on the constitutional rights of black and brown people. And that's why we have to.
I don't know where this video is going to play at, but I got CNN and Fox up right now. And CNN is reading ahead of Fox a minute, almost an entire minute ahead. And I've got them on live.
This is released video of 29-year-old Tyree Nichols' arrest. Now, we are going to watch it together with you.
Here we go.
We're going to air it in its entirety. This will not be easy for anyone. As we've said, it is graphic and brutal, and you should know that if you choose to watch it. The Memphis police chief who has viewed it calls what we are all about to see together heinous and inhumane. But we've decided, and we believe, that it is important to watch this together because we've been told this video shows a man pulled over for a traffic stop, beaten to death, and 5 police officers have been charged with second-degree murder in the case. We do believe this is of great public importance. The family and the police chief all want the world to see this video. Here it is in its entirety.
I want you guys to know I've got the audio on. I haven't touched anything. There we go. Okay, he just turned on.
As we were saying, you're going to have some parts where you hear and some
Right.
parts where you don't. It begins in this first clip. It is silent. This is the police officer's body cam who is approaching the traffic stop, which is already in progress. So in a little bit here, the audio will start and you will see him pull up to the actual traffic stop. That's in about 15 or 20 seconds. But I just want everyone to understand your TV's working fine. You're not hearing it because there isn't audio. That audio is going to begin here in just a few seconds, and we're going to just sit all back together and watch this as this officer pulls up.
Get your ass, blow the fuck out! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out the fucking car! Damn, I didn't do anything! Hey, I didn't turn your ass around! Alright. You don't do that, okay? Get on the fucking ground! Get on the ground! I'm gonna change your ass! Alright, I'm on the ground. Lay down! That's all. Lay down! Please change on the ground! I'm fixing to change you! Get on the ground! One!
He is on the fucking ground.
Okay, dude, damn! Turn the fuck around. Put your fucking hands on my back! Bitch, put your hands behind your back! Quick! Okay, come on. Knock your ass the fuck out! You guys are really doing a lot right now. Bro, lay down! I'm just trying to go home! Man, if you don't lay down... I am on the ground! Put your hands behind your stomach! Ready? Okay. Get the fuck back. Stop! I'm not doing it!
What the fuck?
Oh, shit! .38, where it rains, and Ross. Taser was deployed. Suspect is running down Ross. Young male, black, slim build, blue jeans, and a hoodie. Southbound on Ross, where we last saw him.
You guys, we're going to have to go to Rumble. I'm not going to be able to show this.
What's that?
There's no way I'm going to be able to show this.
Hang on.
You guys come to Rumble. Everyone come to Rumble now.
Ready? Alright, just straight.
I'm turning off everything. I'm going to turn off all the YouTubes. I'm turning off all the YouTubes right now. Come on over to Rumble, guys.
Alright, your car's right in
I'll
front
give
of
you a link in the chat.
Take my car, grab my water. Alright, hang on.
There you go. Come on over.
Where's your water?